Hey, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about 5 CSS build tools that I think you should know, and I took them from the State of CSS 2020 survey. I mentioned it in the previous video when I talked about the 3 libraries to remove unused CSS, and we are essentially going to talk about 5 of those build tools that was mentioned in the State of CSS 2020 survey. So the first one we're going to talk about is Stylelint. Stylelint is a CSS linter and has over 170 built-in rules to catch errors, apply limit, and enforce stylistic convention. I actually tried it not too long ago, and I can say it's extremely easy to use, and it is really great because it will enforce your CSS file to be consistent. And one plugin that I really like is Rational Order. So Rational Order is one of those plugins that I want to mention because I think it makes your code more readable and it creates a system where you have an order to which you're just writing your rules. So first is positioning, then the box model, then typography, visual properties, animation, and everything else. And with Stylelint you can have this order being just enforced, which is great. Not only you will have rules to avoid making mistakes like duplicating rules, duplicating selectors, you can also prevent the complexity to be too high. Not only you have that possibility with Stylelint, but you can also enforce those kind of rules that will just make your code more consistent and cleaner from my perspective. Second build tool to talk about is Prettier. So Prettier is really well known if you are a JavaScript or TypeScript developer, but not a lot of people actually are using it with CSS, but it is something that you can do, and you can use it too with Stylelint the same way that you would use Prettier with ESLint, which means that when you are using Stylelint -fix, it will actually format your code with Prettier. So there is a plugin for Prettier to use, and I actually have it used here, Stylelint config Prettier, which can be used with Stylelint Prettier package. Then styling fix will just format your code automatically. So for example, I used Prettier and Stylelint on this file, and you see that it has been changed to respect the rational order that we saw before. So the third tool that I will mention is PurgeCSS. So I already mentioned PurgeCSS in a previous video, so I'm not going to talk too much about it, but essentially it's a tool to remove unused CSS. So if you're using a CSS framework but you're only using a small subset of it, you can use PurgeCSS to remove what you are not using. Tool number 4 is Autoprefixer. So this example that you see on the screen is perfect to represent what Autoprefixer is doing. Autoprefixer is really used everywhere. If you're using Create React app, it's automatically in, including other tools like cssnano that I will mention later. So Autoprefixer, what it's doing is automatically create prefix rules. So let's just take this example. Placeholder is not exactly working with all the browsers. If you are using, let's just say, Internet Explorer, I believe that MS input placeholder is actually the pseudo selector that you need to specify. For Firefox is mouse placeholder. Chrome is using WebKit input placeholder, or maybe changed to placeholder. I'm actually not sure about that, but the good thing is with Autoprefixer, you don't exactly have to think about those kind of things, because you can use your rules normally and it will automatically add the prefixed rules to it. So that could be the code that you have, and it will just change to this one. So it will work on every browser that you want it to work. Last tools is cssnano, and cssnano is a minifier. And minifying your code is a common practice. You always want to minimize the amount of code that is sent to the client, and it's not necessary, for example, to have white space in your code. The thing is, cssnano is doing way more than just removing white space. You can, let's just say, discard duplicates, discard comments, discard empty rules. It will also transform the colors to make sure that it is using the shorter version of the color. That's it for me. 5 build tools that you can use in 2021 and above. If you are interested in that type of content, do not hesitate to subscribe. You can like the video if you enjoyed it. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.